Hello and welcome to the first of two tutorials on the subject of sharpening images in Photoshop. Sharpening images is something you would do in certain situations. For example, you've taken a photograph and it's come out a little bit blurred. You've done a scan and the image has become blurred. And by blurring, obviously, I mean it's lost its detail. It's soft, it's ill-defined. Also, you've been working on an image and it's sort of suffered some deterioration that can happen when you resize something. For example, you lose definition, you get a blurring effect. For all of these reasons, you might want to restore the sharpened detail to the image. And the way you would normally do this is by using a filter. Now, there are quite a selection of sharpened filters in the menu. If you go down here, you see they have their own little section there. Sharpen, sharpen edges, sharpen more, smart sharpen. We're not going to talk about any of these except the last one here, which is rather illogically called unsharp mask. This is the one that has been around probably the longest in Photoshop and is the one that most people working in Photoshop, old hands anyway, would use. So let's look at this one. So let's open it up. And we can see here we have a dialog box. We have an amount, we have radius, and we have threshold. You can ignore the threshold. We'll talk about radius in a minute. And the way this filter works is basically by increasing the contrast between different areas of the image. So if I turn this amount up, you can see what the filter's doing. Just uncheck preview and check it again. Is it's starting to increase the difference between one area and another. And that's why you're getting this little halo effect appearing here. If I really increase it up, you can start to see it really noticeable there. It's looking, for example, at this pink pixel and this dark pixel, and it's creating a contrast between the two. And this is useful, obviously, because you can see the difference here. But it also has sort of unwanted side effects. And one of the main ones that people notice is this sort of white halo effect. In fact, if I push it all the way up to 500%, you can really see it happening there. So you get a sort of white halo, a sort of, I can't think of the right word, an engraved effect, possibly is the best way to describe it. So, is there anything we can do about this? We want to sharpen our image, but we don't want these sort of artifacts appearing. Well, actually, there is something we can do about it, and that's what we're going to look at first. So I'm going to put this back to a normal amount here. In fact, no, what I'll do is I'll cancel out of it. I'll make a copy of it. And let's reapply that unsharp mask to the... and I'm going to come back down here actually using new setting. By the way, a little tip here. If you just want to apply the same filter setting as you did before, you can use this top one here. In fact, you can use the shortcut, which is Apple Command F or Control F. If you want to change it, you can either come down here to reapply it here, or you can hold on your Alt key and select the top one. Either way, you get the dialog box up that you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way to the edge there to really, really exaggerate it and leave it at 500%. So I have there my very, very sharpened image. You can see with all the artifacts there. And I'm going to make a fresh copy here by selecting the background layer again and going Control or Command J, which just jumps a fresh copy onto that. I'm going to work on this. Right, now this time around, I'm going to apply the 500% sharpen again, but I'm going to use a way of controlling it. I only want it to affect certain parts of the image. And the method I'm going to use is basically to create a alpha channel. And we've looked at alpha channels in other tutorials, so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I suggest you go watch those tutorials first. We're going to create an alpha channel. We're going to load that alpha channel, and then we're going to apply the sharpen filter through the loaded channel, in other words, through a selection. And in the process of doing that, we're going to control the way it works. The channel that we're going to use, just switching the channels menu here, is the RGB one, the composite channel here, because we want to get all the values of all the different channels combined to make this work properly. To load up a channel, I could go to my RGB channel here, I hold down my Control or Command key and I click once on it, and that's basically loaded up the the light layers here, the white layers and the grey layers, as a selection. To save it as a channel, I would go to the bottom of my channel menu here, channel palette, and click this little icon here that says Save Selection as a Channel, and there we are. I have now, just going to drop that, Command D or Control D. I have, in effect, duplicated the RGB channel here. It's obviously in black and white because it's only looking at the black and white values. So this is what I'm going to use, but if I loaded this up again, I'm just going to load it for you, you can see that it would apply the sharpen filter to the lightest areas of the image. And that's not what I want. If I do that, I'm going to end up with my white artifacts because the detail is really in the dark areas of the image. Like, for example, these glasses here. You can see I need to sharpen the glasses, but not the skin underneath the glasses. So instead of using this channel as it is, I'm going to invert it. I'm going to turn it into a photo negative. And to do that, I'm going to hold down my Command or Control key and hit I. And there we go. Now, with the inverted version, the negative version, I'm going to load that as a selection. And I'm going to hold down my Command and Control key, click again on the inverted channel, and load that up. Go back to my main image here, and I'm ready to apply my filter. And what the filter is going to do is basically look at the dark areas of the image rather than the light areas of the image. Now, it's be hard for me to see what's going on because of all these marching ants. So I'm going to turn off the marching ants. They will still be active, but they will not be visible. And the way to do this is to hold down the Command or Control key and hit H. I can turn them back on again by hitting H again. So they're still there, they're just not visible to me. And then I'm going to go to my filter menu and I'm going to apply this unsharp mask. And this is at 500%, remember. Yeah. Right, so I've applied it. This is the original one without the channel. I'm turning that back on. This is with the loaded channel applied. Can you see the difference between the two? A lot of that artifact, those artifacts that are there in the top version there, you can see them, are gone in the second one. Just drop the selection now. So in effect I've applied 500% to both of these two images, but this one at the bottom here, the one that's visible at the moment, has been applied through an active selection, and that selection was generated by taking the RGB channel, inverting it and loading it up. Okay, I hope that is reasonably clear. That is a very, very useful technique if you can remember to apply it. So if you really want to sharpen up an image, you simply take the RGB channel and invert it and then load it as a selection before you apply the sharpen filter. This is something that I learned from a gentleman called Guy Gowan, who has his own website. And I've used this many times since, and I recommend it as a technique. In the next tutorial, we'll look at creating a sharpening layer.